Hey Nintendo Switch 2 fans, I'm Blaze2K, and CD Projekt Red, the developer behind Cyberpunk 2077, one of the advertised true next-gen games of this generation, has shared more Nintendo Switch 2 footage, saying that it's the best way to play it on the go. And now that's interesting to me because I have a Steam Deck, and they actually made a specific graphical mode for the Steam Deck that allows you to play Cyberpunk 2077. And we're going to take a look in this video to see the footage that they revealed, to see if their claims are indeed true. Is the Switch 2 the best way to play Cyberpunk 2077 on the go? It's going to be releasing alongside the Switch 2 on June 5th. Let's see if their claims are accurate. Because some of the footage I've seen over on X, at least from earlier builds, is that it was struggling to get 23 to 30 FPS, so we'll see if that's changed. But first, like, subscribe, click the bell icon, and Blaze2K if you want Switch 2 content on your homepage every day from me. I post multiple times a day, Switch 2 content, all that good stuff, tech, gaming, all that. Please like, subscribe, click the bell icon. Check the links down below in the video description for some really cool stuff, as well as links to the top Nintendo Switch 2 accessories. Get a head start, get your Switch 2 accessories ordered. JSOX has a dedicated page right now. I'll put a link down below to them. They're selling amazing stuff. The mod case, cat ring cases with a bunch of slots for Switch 2 games, which look absolutely amazing. Look at this. Look at this awesome case here. Look at that. It's even transparent. You can see the the thumbstick, the red and the blue accents on the Switch 2, and it's got a slot for all your games. How cool is that? I want it. JSOX is a really good brand. I've been buying their stuff for years. And also check out our 24-hour Switch 2 stock tracking stream. If you want to try and get the upper hand on bots and scalpers, go hang out on our Switch 2 stock tracking stream. It's up 24 hours a day. Got a great community. It's got a stock alarm that'll go off the second pre-orders open back up. We've got the Switch 2 news on the right and a countdown to the release day. Go check it out. You won't regret it. Come say hi. So buckle up, get comfortable, grab yourself a drink, because we're going to be taking a look at Cyberpunk 2077's latest video. They've basically shown more footage of the Switch 2 version of the game in the latest of Nintendo's series of creator voice videos on YouTube channel. Polish Studio has shared more direct feed gameplay of the Ultimate Edition of the game coming out to Switch 2 at launch. In the video, it's also explained how the Switch 2 Joy-Con controllers can be used by the player to fight with katana swords. Ooh, damn. Being able to fight with katanas using the Joy-Cons, how cool is that? CD Projekt Red Vice President of Technology Charles Tremblay explains in the video that while at its core, Cyberpunk 2077 players already know the Switch 2's hardware makes it the best handheld version of the game. Is that a marketing ploy? Because obviously the Steam Deck and other handheld gaming PCs are also pretty good at running the game. So I'm kind of curious, have they made the optimizations they need to for the Switch 2 to make this run as best as it can and make it the best, de facto, best handheld version of the game? Time will tell. Obviously, we've seen Nintendo's first-party games get a crazy amount of optimization to run at 60 Hz at 4K with HDR, and 120 Hz in some games, like I believe the new Metroid might run at 120. Some games do, I know for a fact. But yeah, I really hope third-party developers really focus in and maybe get some help and assistance from Nintendo to optimize their games for the Switch 2 to really, squeeze every little last bit of performance out of it. That being said, we do have a lot of ways to experience the game using the controllers. We have the new amazing LCD screens with VRR support, and I do think it's the best way to experience the game on the go. I think something that you Nintendo fans have to realize, VRR is a technology that's been around for a while, and at least gaming handheld PCs. And let me tell you, lower frame rate games that do dip into 20s every now and again, games that are 30 FPS, they feel so much buttery smooth, so much more buttery smooth than displays that don't have VRR. So the fact that VRR is baked into the Switch 2 screen, I think that's going to make a world of difference as far as playing lower frame rate games, and it's going to smooth out a lot of the ups and downs in terms of frame rate and stutteriness. So that is a big deal. And the engineer of at Cyberpunk basically said, the Switch 2 hardware has made it possible to create a more capable version of Cyberpunk 2077 that was possible on the PS4 and Xbox One. So let's, without further ado, take a look at the quality of this and see what it looks like. So let's go. Let's play. Let's see. So, creator's voice. I thought that was in-game play graphics there, that brick wall. I was like, oh my god, they weren't kidding. Cyberpunk 2077 looks literally like real life on the Switch 2, but no, it was their studio. So let's see. Let's watch this together. Grab yourself a beverage.
Our mission is to create revolutionary role-playing games with memorable stories that move people all over the world, and immersion is part of this experience.
So with your choice and the experience that you're doing, then you can really feel that something matters.
You have the feeling of freedom, and
so this is Switch 2 gameplay. Let's pause this here and let's take a look. Make sure we're cranked up to the highest resolution. Yeah, 1080p is the best we're going to get. That looks amazing. To think that this could run on a handheld and look this good. I've seen the Steam Deck version, and you have to use a lot of optimizations, frame gen, AI upscaling.
It's really natural.
That looks phenomenal. If this is Switch 2 gameplay, holy crap.
So great. This believability is inspired by life. The best stories come from...
I hope this is Switch 2 footage. Now, granted, it could be running at 20 frames a second, but it looks like a freaking nice 20 frames a second.
Has to be seen.
Graphically.
It was very, very challenging.
Look at the hair.
Cyberpunk 2077 takes place in Night City. It's one of the biggest cities in New California. It's full of life, it's bright, it's loud, a city of dreams.
City of Dreams. Now, it's curiously enough, they're not showing a frame rate counter here. So this could be running at like, you know, it could be running at a low frame rate.
It's in Night City, biggest cities in New California. It's
New California.
Full of life, it's bright, it's loud, a city of dreams.
Looks good.
So initially you feel that there's freedom of choice.
Definitely seen some lower texture resolutions in the distance there, in the background, and the skyscrapers and the signs.
But at some point, Night City becomes a system that crushes you.
Idea we had for
Up
Cyberpunk
close, the
is all
textures
about
look really good, don't they?
So when you talk with a character and you want to be close up, you want to see their facial expression,
Idris
you want
Elba.
to see the mannerism. And we did not
John
manage
Wick.
to find a way to make it
Futuristic
work.
John Wick,
And
the
this is why
cybernetic
when
arm.
we went to the first person, we could add those new experiences to the players.
It offers you this dream to become a legend in the city, so you can craft your path using different play styles. This little simple thing that you can use one of your Joy-Cons to fight with your...
Here we go. We're getting the Joy-Con part where we get to use the Joy-Con as a freaking katana. Dude, what other system allows you to do this? Really? Really? What other system, whether it be PS5, Xbox, lets you use the freaking gyroscope and the controller as a katana? You will be fighting people with a freaking katana on the Switch 2 version of Cyberpunk. Now that is a feature you want to advertise. They need to slap that on the front of the game case. Get ready to wield your... I can already see the accessory manufacturers selling literal Joy-Con grips that have like little plastic katanas to where you can actually feel like you're holding a katana with the hit that you slot the Joy-Con into, just to have the ultimate experience of like smashing and slicing people with a katana on this game. Let's play and see.
Or a katana.
It's still the same amazing experience, and I think the returning players will feel right at home. That being said, we do have a lot of way to experience the game using the controllers, using on the go. We have the new amazing LCD screens with the VR support, and I do think it's the best way to experience the game. Amazing.
Let's go back there and look at that. The graphics look really impressive. I mean, I know they compare the Switch 2 to the PS4 a lot, right? They say it's almost as powerful or around the same performance as a PS4. I don't even remember the PS4 looking this good. Did the PS4 version of Cyberpunk look this good?
LCD screens with the VR support, and I do think it's the best way to experience the game on the go.
Agreed.
Maybe the PS5 Pro.
Think so too, Reed.
PS4 Pro.
When I was a kid, it was extremely difficult to make games, but now that we have all those amazing
Beautiful.
platforms,
Look at that.
the kids are able to also know how to make games. It is something that is part of the culture, and I think that in the future we'll see even more amazing games, amazing ideas that we never thought would be possible 20 years ago or even 30 years ago.
We can expect new innovations
Look at that.
and incredible...
I mean, bear in mind, granted, they will be using upscaling. They'll be using some sort of they'll be using DLSS AI upscaling for this, and it will be running at a lower frame rate. But even then, when you upscale a game, there's a lot of telltale signs that it's been upscaled, right? There's artifacts, especially in things like grass and everything, and small things like hair and stuff that's moving around. You can tell it's been upscaled. But from what I'm seeing right now, I mean, even in the distance, there's enough clarity and detail and stuff like the signs. No, they're not pin sharp, but it's really impressive. And usually a lot of the caveats and downsides of upscaling make themselves really apparent when you're watching gameplay of something like this on a larger display. I'm watching this on a 27-inch gaming monitor here at 1440p. It's a 1080p video. Granted, it's a 1080p video, but usually games look like absolute trash. You know, games that run at smaller resolutions, that are upscaled, all that, they'll look really bad typically when you're watching them on something like a 27-inch monitor, like I'm looking at this now on, or a TV. But right now, this is looking really, really impressive. Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition, available June 5th.
The game on Nintendo Switch 2 is the more Cyberpunk way to play Cyberpunk.
It's looking like it. Unbelievable. So from a Steam Deck fan who has a Steam Deck, who's played Cyberpunk on the Steam Deck, not for a while, I need to launch it up. It's probably had a few updates and probably looks a little bit better. But this is looking really impressive. Now, if they can get the frame rate at a solid 30 to 40 FPS, I will be super impressed. And with that VRR display, it's going to be buttery smooth. You know, like I says, sometimes when you see stuff at 30, ideally we want to play games at 60 and above. But for games like Cyberpunk, and you're getting that much visual fidelity and it's looking that good on a freaking handheld gaming device, I think 30 is a pretty reasonable expectation and reasonable to play with. And especially if you're using VRR to smooth that out, make it seem a little bit more smooth and buttery, then awesome. Obviously, as you know, when Cyberpunk came out, it struggled to run well on last-gen consoles at launch, and its expansion later was released only for PS5 and Xbox Series consoles, but will be available in the Switch 2 version. Cyberpunk 2077 has seen a tremendous amount of ongoing love. We've continued to improve the game. In bringing the Ultimate Edition to Switch 2, we were able to build on top of that already solid base. Development still had challenges, of course, any development process does, but we've been careful in picking trade-offs to not compromise the game's vision. We haven't had to fight with fitting into memory, he added, and the speed of data storage has helped alleviate some of those early streaming problems. This has allowed us to focus on our attention on improving other things, and we're very happy with the result. So yeah, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. And before I leave you, let's take a look at some other people's comments here. So the contrast between opinion on this game when it was launched and here is so wild. The fact that this game, with all the DLC, is coming on a cartridge means Sega has no excuse. Absolutely. None of this digital game card stuff where you get an empty game card. That is not cool. Thank you for putting the full game on a cartridge. Day one purchase. Get this message to them. I am buying this just to support the company for using real cartridge and not a stupid game key card. Thank you CD Projekt Red. Cyberpunk 2077 has been a bumpy but incredible and beautiful journey. Thank you CDPR. Thank you CDPR for putting the full game on a cartridge, including that seems to be one of the biggest things, is that those of you people that love your physical games are going to be really happy. They've managed to squeeze the entire game, or at least for now, minus the updates, on the cartridge, which I think is fantastic. And I think Parazito puts it pretty nicely here. He says, having pre-ordered the game for the PS4 Pro, it was a nightmare, by the way, then on Steam, and now pre-order for Switch 2, especially when they are the only third-party publisher that put the whole game plus DLC on the cartridge. Thank you for game preservation, and don't cheap on key cards. No key, yes purchase. Have this on PlayStation, but cannot wait to have it physically on the Switch. And lastly, the fact that this isn't a keycard game and has DLC on it means that this is absolutely a day one purchase for me, as long as you show some more footage of how it runs. Looks good so far. And like I said, we might see some screenshots of this thing running on the Switch 2, earlier builds where it was getting 23 FPS. With VRR, if you don't know, VRR, I'm not going to get technical in this video, but basically it helps with lower frame rate games or frames that have fluctuating frame rates, and basically smooths it out really nicely. And I saw a perfect example of that when I had a ROG Ally, which is a PC gaming handheld that had a VRR screen. Games just looked a lot more smooth and playable and enjoyable on a VRR display, and I'm sure we'll see examples of that on the Switch 2 when it comes out. So don't worry too much about the frame rate. It should still be smooth. Is it a full, solid, clean 60 FPS? No. But is it still going to run and feel comfortable? Yes. Anyway, guys, I'll leave you there. Like I says, check out JSOX. I'll put a link in the video description. Go check out all their awesome Switch 2 accessories. You can pre-order right now some of the best accessories I've seen. It's a reliable, solid brand. It's not some no-name brand with shoddy quality. These guys have a reputation. They have a history of making handheld gaming accessories the best of the best, and hopefully I'll have a chance to show off some of their accessories later in May, around May time. So stay tuned to the channel, like, subscribe, click the bell icon to stay up to date on Switch 2 news, and to get hyped up and join the hype train for the Switch 2, and come join our 24-hour stock tracking stream to try and get the upper hand on bots and scalpers, because I have an alarm on here. It's a silent stream. It'll play an alarm the second it comes open for pre-order again. We've got our news, we've got a countdown to release, and we've got a really awesome community in the chat room that are chatting away about Switch 2 every day. So if you have questions, want to chat Switch 2, want to get hyped, want to track restocks, then please come subscribe to the channel and check out that live stream, which I'll also put a link to in the video description. Anyways, I'm Blaze2K. Take care, have a great week, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.